Thank you.
Justice Strasman's going to start pulling her weight and take the next witness.
Very good.
Strasman.
Thank you. Come on to call Megan Barry Waterhouse, please. Is it okay if I move this a little bit when she comes in?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just do me a favor, stand on this blue line, right?
Raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Thank you. May be seated.
Just want you to step up and look around. Have a seat. Don't speak.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Good afternoon. Could you introduce yourself to the members of the jury, telling them your name and then also spelling it for the record?
My name's Megan Waterhouse, Meganwaterhouse.
Prior to being Megan Waterhouse, what was your maiden name?
Barry.
What is your occupation, Ms. Barry?
I'm a registered nurse.
I should say Ms. Waterhouse, I apologize. Where are you a registered nurse?
Anna Jacques Hospital.
How long have you worked for Anna Jacques Hospital as a registered nurse?
About 10 years.
Before going into your duties and responsibilities there, could you please describe to the jury your educational background to become a registered nurse?
I got my bachelor's degree at University of Massachusetts Lowell.
And when was that?
I graduated in 2011.
What is your current assignment at Anna Jacques as a registered nurse?
I work 3 12-hour shifts, 7A to 7P.
Is there a specific part of the hospital that you're assigned?
The emergency department.
And have you been there the entire time?
About 6 years.
What are your duties and responsibilities as a registered nurse within the emergency department at Anna Jacques?
I triage, I assess, and I monitor patients.
Very quickly, what does it mean to triage?
When they come in, we do vital signs, we do an assessment, we get a story from the patient or loved ones or EMS. We do blood work, we do tests, imaging.
If someone comes in via ambulance, is there a specific procedure that's followed that's possibly different than if someone were to walk into the emergency room?
Typically, we get a call ahead from EMS. Based on that story, we pick an appropriate room in the hospital or in the emergency department. And then once they arrive, we meet EMS in that room and we get report from them.
I'd like to specifically turn your attention to November 11th of 2022. Were you working as an emergency room nurse at Anna Jacques Hospital on that day?
Yes.
Were you working that 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. shift that you just described?
Yes.
At some point, did you get a call from, or did you become aware that a patient was being brought to Anna Jacques Hospital by the name of Leroy Fowler?
Yes.
Your Honor, with this court's permission, if the medical records from Anna Jacques could be marked as the next exhibit subject to any redactions that are necessary?
They may.
Thank you.
Jurors, you've heard a couple of references to exhibits being admitted subject to redactions. Redactions means we black out some information, excise it in some fashion. Ultimately, if there are these redactions on any number of exhibits that are before you, don't try to speculate about what material has been excised from these records. The reason things are redacted is because they have no relevance for your purposes. And so I make judgments of things that ought to be redacted. Sometimes things are redacted just by agreement because all the attorneys agree that something's not relevant. So if you see something blacked out, just ignore it.
Is it fair? Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Is it fair to say that Mr. Fowler was brought into Anna Jacques just before 9 a.m. that morning?
Yes.
And what was your responsibility as it related to Mr. Fowler when he was brought into Anna Jacques?
We brought him into a room. We get the story from EMS. We get vital signs. We get blood work. And we begin our triage process.
And when you say vital signs, can you describe to the jurors specifically what you did?
Temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen.
And at some point, did you have an occasion to put an IV in?
Yes.
And why was that?
Typically, when anyone comes in an altered state, we put an IV in and we get what we call a rainbow blood work, which is 4 tubes of blood work, where we can order a variety of lab tests off of those.
And when you say an altered state, what do you mean?
Confused.
And was Mr. Fowler, did he come in, was he altered or confused?
Yeah, he was unable to follow any direction.
And were you able to have any type of communication with him as to his, what brought him there?
No.
And for those reasons, did you do what you just described in terms of the IV and the rainbow blood draw?
Yes.
And was that done almost immediately upon your interaction with him because of the uncertainty of his condition?
Yeah, everything happens pretty much at once.
Could you kind of take us through exactly what you do for a patient and specifically what you did for Mr. Fowler as it related to that rainbow blood draw?
Basic blood work. When we don't know what's causing this altered, we'll do blood work, drug screens, imaging, all that kind of stuff.
Why is it called rainbow blood work?
It's just 4 colors, and
Like 4 different colored tubes?
yes.
Okay, and let's talk about those tubes real quick. Is there some way to identify the blood that you take from a patient, specifically Mr. Fowler, as it relates to each of those 4 different colored tubes?
Yeah, immediately after we take the blood, we label it with a sticker, and we make sure it has 2 patient identifiers that match: name, date of birth, medical record number.
So fair to say that any blood that was drawn from Mr. Fowler would have been confirmed that the blood that you were subsequently going to submit for testing belonged to Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
And in this case, where did the blood go once you drew it?
To the lab.
And was that done at approximately 9 or 4 a.m.?
Yes.
And were you the first person that took blood from Mr. Fowler upon his entrance into Anna Jacques Hospital?
Yes.
When it goes to the lab, are you aware of whether or not that blood is retained after the testing is done?
They do keep it for a while. I'm not sure how long.
You had described Mr. Fowler's condition as being altered when he came in. Could you describe to the jury what other observations you made of Mr. Fowler while he was under your care during that time?
He couldn't follow direction. He was trying to climb out of the bed. He couldn't tell us any information about what was going on with him. He was really hard to calm down.
Were you able to speak to him in any coherent way?
No.
When you say he was not able to follow directions, were there things that you were specifically asking him to do that he was unable to do?
One specific thing was to give a urine sample, and he wasn't even able to follow that direction.
As a result of him being unable to follow your instructions as it related to the urine sample, what, if anything, did you have to do?
Put a catheter to get the urine.
And was that done as it related to Mr. Fowler's treatment around 9 a.m. on November 11th?
Yes.
Did you make observations while you were caring for Mr. Fowler as to whether or not there was anyone there with him, or at some point there with him?
There was a woman with him.
Do you remember how she identified herself in relation to Mr. Fowler?
I don't remember exactly.
How long would you say that you, I guess, were in charge as the nurse for Mr. Fowler during that morning?
It's about 11 a.m.
And is it fair to say at some point after 11 a.m. his care was turned over to another nurse?
Yes.
Regarding the blood draw and any testing or imaging, are you responsible for interpreting the results?
No.
Who would be responsible for interpreting the results?
The provider assigned to him.
So fair to say that you didn't have an occasion to review those results or make any determinations in terms of care that he may or may not have needed?
No.
Essentially, you interacted with him, you triaged him, you got the blood work to the lab as quickly as possible, and then at some point around 11 a.m., his care was turned over to another nurse?
Yes.
If I may have one moment.
Yes, you may.
During that course of those 2 hours that you were responsible for Mr. Fowler, did his condition change in any way, or did it remain the same throughout your interaction with him?
He never was oriented to himself. He never could follow any direction. Nothing changed. He seemed to be getting more confused.
And at no point were you able to have any conversation with him as to what had caused his condition that brought him there?
No.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Mr. Norton?
Good afternoon. Would it be fair to say that These were events back again in 2022, and now we're into 2026. And your memory would have been better in any report you gave in and about that date back in 2022 than they would be today of those events.
Yes,
And you did at some point in time go in and speak to police officers, right?
correct.
And you did that. Did you have an opportunity to look at that, a transcript of that statement prior to coming in here
I
today?
did,
And did you feel that that was truthful and accurate?
yes,
And you attempted to be truthful and accurate to the officers. You had no reason not to be on that date, right?
correct.
And you indicated that when he came in, you did a series of tests with him, including the blood work, the IV. You had used I didn't use a particular term for the blood work itself. And you didn't sedate him to do any of that, right?
Not that I remember.
And you did not indicate either in your prior statement or to here today that you had to, on occasion, there are restraints on some of the beds, right?
Not on the beds, no,
Well, if you wanted to restrain a person, you could.
yes,
Okay, and that wasn't done with him, right?
no,
And back in February of 2022, you had described him as alert, but definitely confused and restless, right?
I'm assuming, Mr. Nurse.
You said February, but I think you meant November.
Oh, I think you meant
February.
2023.
What was the date you said?
I'm sorry, the confusion of dates of on the statement you gave of February 6, 2023, about November 11th of 2022, when Mr. Fowler came in, you had described him as, and he was alert, but definitely confused and restless.
yes,
And alert would mean and I know you had said he was, and you also indicated he was talking, correct?
nothing that made any sense,
But he was talking.
yes,
So it was words that were being formed, but you believe there was a confused message that was coming to you, correct?
yes,
Now, and when he came in, initially, the assessment done by you, based upon other people in somewhat similar conditions that had come into you, you thought it was a drug overdose, right?
that's the one reason someone could come in altered, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, that's one reason someone could come in altered,
And as a matter of fact, you told the police that's what you thought it was, and it's part of the hospital, the staff,
Mhm.
that you alone, right?
yes,
Now, did you actually do the blood draw?
yes,
And you said there were 4 different types of tubes connected to it?
typically we do a full rainbow,
So you have, whatever the little capsules are, you're going to be drawing 4 of those at
we
one
put in,
time?
yeah, we can place IVs and, draw blood work right off the IV.
And do you determine, after you've drawn the blood, what you're going to test for?
As a nurse, I have standing orders based on complaints, which I can draw certain labs, and then the providers can add more labs afterwards.
So if one of the things you wanted to test for was drugs?
That's not per my policy, so the provider would add that on to the lab work.
That would be whoever sends it out. So
No,
when it comes, if you're the nurse that's attending, you don't actually ask for a particular type of test, even though you're attending to the patient.
I could tell the provider that I could ask for it, but they order the test, yes.
Do you know what the slip said when the blood work went into the lab, what it was that was requested?
I don't remember.
The lady that came in, did she identify herself as the girlfriend?
I don't remember how she identified herself.
And if I showed you a copy of your statement from February 6th of 2023, and had you look at that, see if that might refresh your memory as to what you thought that lady was,
Yes, I believe she was the girlfriend.
Do you also have any memory that she was attentive to him physically, holding his hands?
Yes,
And did she stay with him for an extended period of time at the hospital?
yes.
I may have a moment, Judge.
Yes.
Did you also do an alcohol test on him? If you wanted to do, in terms of the blood work, would you
believe
do
so.
an alcohol level test through the blood work?
Yes.
Thank you. Judge, I have no further questions.
Ms. Strathern?
Just very briefly, is it fair to say that there are a variety of reasons why someone might come to the emergency room in an altered condition?
Yes.
And is that why you need to triage them and do the blood work to determine what it is that brought them there?
Yes.
And at the time, you had no idea what happened to Mr. Fowler that caused him to be altered, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
Mr. Norkunis, any follow-up to that?
I don't have anything additional, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You may step down.